Okay, all ready to go. Okay, good morning, everyone. I hope you're okay. As I was saying before, I already provided feedback for the module 2, whoever submitted the information. And I was saying that there is some information missing from some of you. I believe probably accidentally you forgot to include this information. So basically for the assignment for the module 2 is the AP image, basically with the location and the emergency protocol for the evacuation of the casualty in case of casualty or something happening. So entry, exit, and then the evacuation where you're gonna set up the emergency services and how you can just basically connect to the nearest emergency center hospital. That's the basically a map where you draw. So you can do a capture on Google Maps and then you draw that. Then the other thing is the AP, the writing AP about the emergency protocol. So how you're gonna act in case of emergency. You can include different case situation if you want to, like suddenly weather change or rescue from a drowning casualty or something like that. So you can set up different cases scenarios. And then the risk assessment. So the risk assessment, there is also a form shared with the assignment. The risk assessment is more about what can happen, how to avoid it. So what are the risks? Basically, what are the hazards? What are the risks that can involve those hazards? And how to prevent or how you can highlight that there is this risk in the location where you are conducting the training or the race itself. Okay, so those things, these three kind of documents must be included for the assignment. Okay, I think this should be like a common practice for all of us whenever we are organizing any kind of training camp or whatever. It's a part of our SOP. Let's call it SOP. It gives us a little bit more professionalism whenever. Hi, Julian.
Hi, how are you?
Professionalism whenever we start organizing a training camp or an open water station or even an event, a proper event itself. So super important. I think this module in terms of safety is quite important. Obviously, there are so many things to consider that they are not included in the module itself, like minimum number of safety devices, boats or whatever. But obviously, we consider that depending on the location, this is going to change drastically. So it's not going to be common thing for all the locations the same. Okay. However, questions about module 2? Anything that you want to ask about the module 2? Yes, go ahead. Nico.
So you mentioned now these three documents, and I already saw that there's another one called NOP, like normal operating procedures.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that is the name for all of the templates that were uploaded on the platform, like the risk assessment and the EAP, or if that is a different document that we also need to fill in.
No, it's basically the same. Basically, the NOP is the normal operational procedures. So this is how it works. Normally, the normal operational procedure is included in the SOP. So and it involves the emergency, the AP, and the risk assessment. So it's kind of combined all together, and you can call it all together SOP, NOP, and then that includes inside the EAP and the risk assessment. It's all like
Okay.
But the normal operational procedures involves a little bit more wider field. So let's say that you are not going to look only at the course itself, but you're looking at the venue, surroundings out of the venue itself. So it's more like a. So for example, if you look at the swimming pool SOPs, NOP, which involves the SOPs and the AP and the risk assessment, what we have in the pool is everything related to all regulations, water quality, safety devices, what are the hazards involved, how the EAP are included in these SOPs to be effective, And so all these kind of things are included in the main major document. Let's call it NOP. So it's okay. If you bring that into open water, maybe you should be including venue. What can happen in the venue itself if you're setting up a venue, surroundings, and many more other things. But let's keep it simple. Risk assessment, EAP, basically more linked to the event itself and more focused on the open water specifically. Because normally we work with a team when we organize this kind of thing. So if there is something arranged out of the water, in land as a venue, something like that, depending on the venue that you're building now. Obviously, it can be included as an NOP. Like, okay, I'm gonna set up a venue with this kind of tents. I'm gonna include toilets, cables, because I'm gonna use a projector. Then you have to highlight that. Okay, electric issues, hazards. I don't know, anything that can collapse.
Yeah,
So all these kind of things. But let's keep it simple. We go with the open water. We are coaches, so our setup is in the water. And what if something happen in the water? How can I act accordingly? So EAP and the risk assessment. That's it.
Okay, and now that you mentioned the hazards, another question I had, because I don't know the difference between conditions underfoot and underwater. So my logic said like, okay, because I'm doing it like considering I will apply it here on the island. So I'm doing it like from one point to another point. And I thought that underfoot conditions would be, for example, there's rocks at the beginning on one side, but underwater conditions could be more like the corals and the fish that are deeper,
Yeah,
but
it's
I'm
more
not
like
sure if that is.
Yeah, that's something like that. Yeah, more like a currents, waves, and all, more like involved inside the water itself. And the other ones, the underfoot, probably, whatever is out of the water specifically. So you can include the boats. You can include like if there are jet skis around there is a traffic ferries, or as you say, the rocks or the coral reefs in the shallow ends. So something like that. Yeah, that's the idea.
Okay, I let the rest talk because.
Okay. Anything else?
Thank you.
Anything else related to module 2? I mean, to be honest, it's quite straightforward. Things that you have to consider the whole time. And this is good if we can share some kind of things that we can consider as a hazard or risks. We have Nurul organizing events. You know exactly what you can expect and what you cannot expect. But yeah, you can expect the unexpected, right? So that's the point. In open water, what will you highlight as a kind of a risk or a hazard?
Yeah, I think based on my experience, the things is we have like weather changes, like we expect the calm water, the safe venue, but suddenly the rains coming and getting big, like storm. Yeah, that's some of my experience. Then after that, we call all the swimmers to get on the boat. Yeah, and just waiting. Even the boat cannot go anywhere. Because we cannot get any visual to the land. So yeah, we just staying on the boat until the storm is over. Yeah, I think that's what we cannot expect, but it happens, right? And
Yeah,
we must prepare. We must prepare for that.
it's normally, yeah, you have to consider all kind of cases scenarios. Obviously, there will be something that it goes out of your control, but can go out of your control. But we have to minimize this kind of risk. I've seen many different
I think
situations.
the most important is we must bring the operators or what. I mean the man that knows very well about that place. Like
Yeah,
sometimes I use
knowing the
fishermen.
location.
Yeah, sometimes
Knowing
if I cannot see any rescuer, I will involve a fisherman to help me.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
In these last years, I mean, I can highlight some things that you can even think about it. But like, for example, I swam in harbors where basically you swimming first out of the harbor, then you enter the harbor. Obviously, you have to consider the traffic and everything else. But what if when you enter the harbor, the water conditions in terms of quality, they are so bad that it's not really recommended for swimmers. Sometimes the organizers, so even if you planning to organize something, you consider or you think that, okay, we will be able to swim inside, do this, do that, but without considering water quality. The other day, I swam in Putrajaya Lake, and yeah, I believe the organizer only tests the water in one point, but we swam around the whole lake. It's a man-made lake, where because of the situation of the location is surrounded by a lot of buildings, governmental buildings and all. And there are so many drains that connects to that lake. Okay, so you're swimming in a kind of a channels, but the water changes from one point to another point. So if you really want to consider health into the risk assessment, you should be testing the water in many different points, and mainly where these drains goes to the lake. So I got another organizer who tested the water because they wanted to have an event there, and they came back saying that the equally levels were like about 300 times the recommended ones in some points, and that's why he avoided to organize the event. The problem here in Malaysia is like many other countries, not generalizing, but many other countries that they don't care about the water conditions. You want to organize an event, go ahead. Obviously, if nobody complains, everything is okay. If somebody complains, well, if you want to go through, if you want to bring them to court and go through the whole process, because it shouldn't be legal to organize an event in this kind of waters, obviously it's on you. But the main point, equally level super high, because they never tested different points, and that's a risk for your health. Obviously, it's going to put yourself in risk. Then traffic, obviously, talking about traffic, currents. There are so many different rip currents and currents when you organize an event in the sea, and you should be able to know quite well the location itself, because like in my hometown, we used to have in one of the beaches, we used to organize an event. I used to work there as a lifeguard, and I know exactly the point, this kind of rip currents that is like a kind of surrounding. So basically you enter and you cannot exit. You better don't fight the current and just let it go. Happens very often. So if you set up the course not knowing the location well enough, it's going to happen. So all these kind of details can happen. What else? Obviously, the weather change is another thing to consider. That was another thing that it was highlighted in these long races in rivers. Imagine that suddenly it starts raining, and you basically the water level of the river goes too high or too strong. The current is extremely strong. That can happen. So that happened in Santa Fe Corona in 2015. I was there. It happened two things. The first one was it was started to rain the day before a little bit. The people were a little bit concerned about what is going to happen. However, jump in the water, start swimming. After 3 hours and a half, we enter they call it El Vado. Basically, it's a kind of it used to be calm, but no current, because the Paraná River, basically you follow the current downstream for this event. It's 57 kilometers. Then there's one point when you do like a kind of paddle, like a kind of a big curve, and you connect again with the big river. So you're swimming in the big river, turn right, do like a big turn, U-turn, and then enter again the river. So the first step of the river, it was supposed to be no current. But because of the rain, the current was against us. I have a very funny video in my YouTube channel. It's a very short one, but you can see that I can't even move. I can almost move. And my board, my friend who was on the board was like, pull the plants on the riverside. So they call it anyway. Pull the plants. So I was swimming close to the plants from the side of the river, and I was just pulling the plant. For sometimes I was needed to pull the plants, otherwise you cannot move. Basically, you see the current, and you're swimming in the same place the whole time. Same place the whole time. Sometimes moving backwards. When you can overtake that, basically the current was super strong because the river was so high that you can even control your direction. Basically, you are like pushed all the way down. You feel like you're swimming super fast, but on top of that, the risk of branches and whatnot. He just basically banging into branches of trees and plants and a lot of nonsense going on the flow of the river. So that was the point of 3 hours and a half, and then like few minutes entering in this stream current downstream. They canceled the race because you could see at the end of the river like super black. I don't know. It was like a very heavy thunderstorm. There was like the Coronda was flooded for 1 week after that day. So they pull up they just pull up us of from the water and cancel the race. That was 2015. So things here is like, okay, you organize an event in the river, but these kind of things can happen. So it's like suddenly everything changes and you end up swimming in a very dangerous river with a lot of branches or maybe against the current. You can't even control yourself where you're going. So all these kind of things can happen suddenly, even though you have everything under control. So, and the forecast is quite unpredictable, at least depending on the countries, even more. I think South Asia, at least here, is like kind of a joke about the forecast. You see the forecast every day is like lightning, raining, blah, blah, and then suddenly, or nothing happened, or maybe looks like the end of the world. I think, Nika, you had the whole week it's been raining. I keep tracking in the app where it's raining, and it's like a crazy raining everywhere, and then suddenly, so but the forecast is always raining, and it might rain, it might not. Here in Malaysia, it's been raining. But one day, the last 3 weeks, every single day, lightning and storm and a lot of water. And yeah, basically afternoons normally here. So yeah, my point here, another thing that is a bit unpredictable, at least here in South Asia, is the haze. So now we have Indonesia with fires, then the haze is moving up and the pollution is very high. One day is clear, another day is very hazardous. So it's all these things changing. So many things to consider. It's always good to get to know as best as possible the location. And I always say the same. For this kind of clinic camps, workouts with many different swimmers levels, amateur levels normally, amateur swimmers with a very low skills, it's always better to do something in a very, very easy going location, like a lake or big swimming pool. That way you can remove lanes or whatever. But if you do outdoor, lakes is the easiest. If you have any kind of bay, beach or whatever, even though bay beach can have waves and currents and all, but the easiest, the better. And here in Malaysia, we have a nearby here, we organize a couple of times a clinic in a lake, and it's quite okay, even though, as I say, if the days before rain, the water is not clear, the level can be too high. When there is no rain, very often the level is too low, and there are some branches from the trees coming from inside the river, so it's also another issue. But yeah, river lakes are always easier. Any other place, you need to make sure that the conditions are good for that. Anyway, yeah, I think the module 2 is quite straightforward. It's about safety. Talking about the next module, the module 3 is about freestyle technique and adaptations for open water, skills, drills to practice, all the skills. I know that this is also very straightforward, but there are so many different combinations. I will be more than happy for you when you start working out in your next module, the module 3, try to come up with some new ideas about training. It's going to be very useful for all of us. We can share in the next meeting some kind of ideas about how we can introduce these kind of drills to our swimmers. If there is any kind of new drill, new practice, I always try to struggle a little bit on bringing up new things for my swimmers, because normally they are very used to all the same things, the same time, the whole time the same things. So it's always hard. I'm talking about practice in open water for this kind of skills, for open water skills, and even in the pool, the POW, we call it the pool open water practice. What skills you can, what practice, what workouts you can bring into the pool to practice all the skills and make it a little bit more fun. I think, yeah, about 1-2 months ago, when I went to Jakarta with Mela for the camp, we tried to introduce new things. You try to do some things a little bit different that I think that they never did before. Some examples, Mela, do you remember? Something that you never did before, you did with me when I went there?
Yeah, actually there's a lot that you gave us, the new things, and it's very useful.
I think, okay, just if I forget anything, just correct me. But I think that we did practice in, so practice in the pool, removing lanes, obviously setting up some buoys. And we were swimming in a park where all the swimmers were swimming together. I wanted them to swim side by side and try to be as realistic as possible. Obviously, nothing compared to the reality, as you know, because you are still working out with your teammates, and it's always more gentle swimming rather than the competitive perspective where nobody cares about anybody else that being ahead and fighting for a position. So you're being hit quite many times in a race. What else? We were practicing sighting while swimming. So they were swimming 50 meters down the pool, and then whenever they turned the buoy on the way by, they needed to spot some different items depending on the swimmers groups outside the pool. So basically that helps to like a change of point, turning buoy, whatever, and then sighting for a new reference for the new buoy. In this case was an item. So I think we use some balls, some met balls or basketball balls that were there, and then we were moving around the pool outside. So one was on top of one table, another one on the showers, another one side on the side of the pool. So swimmers turning the buoy after swimming down the pool, and then whenever they were swimming back, they needed to head up and start looking and trying to locate what was the point. Feeding obviously is quite straightforward, but what about feeding when there are many different sticks and different flags and different people swimming at the same time and feeding at the same time? It's not exactly the same as just feeding once at a time. So all these kind of things. However, this is next module. I think that whenever you go through the skills, you can have a look, and if you have some new ideas, we can share in the next meeting. It will be very useful. And what else? Yeah, I just wanted to highlight. I don't know if I mentioned during the last meeting, but the final assignment. So it's after the 5 modules, the 5 modules and the 5 assignments and the test. There is a final assignment. I think I forgot last time to mention it. So the final assignment, I'm gonna start introducing so you can just start giving a thought about what you want to do. It's basically the preparation of an open water clinic for 5 hours, meaning. So you're preparing an open water clinic for your swimmers. The duration of the clinic is going to be 5 hours. The idea of this final assignment is prepare a proper presentation, slides, where you have to introduce basically everything that is on the modules. Starting with obviously this module 2, so all the risk assessment, AP, what's going to be your setup for the course, if you're going to set up some kind of venue. You are expected to be providing theory and practice, obviously, during these 5 hours. So you can basically prepare the schedule as you want to. So you prepare the schedule. Okay, I'm gonna start with a welcoming. We start with a try session. Maybe I'm gonna start introducing about what you can go also with the different level. If you want to go a higher level, you can start with a different skill, different practice. If you want to start with amateur, basic beginners, open water clinic, let's say, so you're going to start talking about open water, the conditions and everything else, then bring them to the water environment. What practice are you going to do? If you're going to do warm-up, you're going to set up a small course, you're going to do some labs practicing this or these other skills. End up talking about a little bit about what it look like from a coach perspective, the preparation in terms of preparation for a race, in terms of goal settings, your programming, how you're going to provide the programming, what tests are you going to provide. This is just more talking about module 3, module 4, and then you can end up even discussing a little bit about nutrition, give them some tips about nutrition preparation for the open water before the race, after the race, all that we saw in the module 1, but a little bit more advanced with the nutrition module at the end. In the module 5, it's about nutrition, it's about land training. So if you want to provide some tips or some kind of guidance about what they can do in preparation for the open water related to land training, and the injuries prevention, which is also included in the module 5, what you can guide, how can you guide them to prevent injuries. I see many crazy things in swimming the whole time, and I keep saying that it's not about swimmers or coaches, it's about all of us working together, because I got like very experienced swimmers very used to swim the whole time and they do things that is okay. And for amateur swimmers that they want to move faster and they start doing things. Talking about, for example, when I see swimmers using the huge XL size paddles doing 1K sets, and I'm like, you're gonna damage your shoulders 100% for sure sooner or later. So maybe you should do shorter sets, or maybe you can just reduce the intensity, blah blah blah. So all these kind of things. Anyway, so everything that you consider that can be included in a clinic, obviously in 5 hours clinic. I'm not expecting you to do like another full course or for open water. It's a clinic. If you target beginners, then go a little bit lower in terms of explanations, expectations, and information. For basic, if you go for a little bit intermediate or advanced open water swimmers, you can just try to develop a little bit in a different way, everything. But that's the final assignment, okay? Just introducing a little bit what it is. I will share, probably after the next module, I will share the document, which kind of guidance of how it works, the final assignment, so you have an idea. I think that, and I mean, this final assignment is very useful. I got some very good presentations from people introducing the location, even talking about, even sharing in the slides touristic attractions that you can attend while you are in the clinic, after the clinic, before the clinic. I don't know, a lot of information. Very useful if you go ahead later on organizing your own clinic camps, open water clinic camps. Basically, is that, I mean, you already developed this presentation. You can use these slides. You can just adjust to whatever and then just go ahead with it. It's not going to change much unless you are changing the different kind of swimmers that you are inviting for this kind of clinic. So that's the final practice assignment. And moving forward, since we are talking about what comes next, what we normally do after you get the certification, we invite all the coaches to join the website. If you want to share your profile and everything else, I think you will be included in the website. So the website, Oceanman website, has all the coaches' profiles that they wanted to be included. And then it's also linked to the platform, to the registration platform. So we are kind of promoting coaches to be hired for preparation of open water events. This, however, normally works online. So basically, you're setting up the plan and the workouts and everything else. And then yeah, they pay you through the platform, and we will transfer to you the income. So, but that's another thing. That's on you if you want to be included or not. Okay. Next is the last one. Mela maybe could be interested. I know that Mela is very active on social media. I invited already Nika, okay? Because I think I mentioned last time, but TikTok is, we are launching TikTok channel now. And I think it's gonna be linked also to Instagram. So the marketing guy, the social media marketing guy wants us to start preparing some videos, kind of creators for TikTok and Instagram short, some kind of reels, up to 40-45 seconds about many different topics. He has already like a kind of planning about what are the videos that he's expecting us to provide and all. If anybody wants to contribute, I invited Nika. Nika's already in the team. We have Carla from Mexico, Dano from Colombia, Khadija, who is in Emirates, supposed to be there too, doing some videos. It stops raining here anytime. So yeah, if you want to join, just let me know, and I will add you to the group, and I will share some kind of proposals in terms of videos to create. Whenever we have a few videos already created, we are gonna start posting. So the idea is to have like a kind of a database initially, so we don't stop the channel for a while. So it's like a kind of, I don't know, he wants to have like a 10 or 15 videos and then work out with the 10 or 15 videos always in the back as a backup, and then just go through them to share with all of you. So yeah, let me know if you are interested. I know it's some kind of work from your side, but I leave it on you. Apart from that, talking too much. Questions? Anything?
Me again. Only two. So, do you use any kind of informatic tool to prepare the maps and the starting point, blah, 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 because I was doing it with paint
Yeah,
and it's awful.
I go to Google Earth, I find the location, do a screenshot, and then with the screenshot on Paint, you can use like a triangle, squares, whatever.
Yeah, that's what I was doing, but I feel like so old school and prehistoric. So maybe, I don't know, you have any suggestion of any tool I can download or something?
Okay, I've seen, I was just trying to find, let me see if
Because I
can
know
find-
about Canva, and I don't know, I was thinking about trying it, but
Yeah.
I don't know, I wanted to share this question with all of you guys to know how do you normally do this map thing, or if you go simple and
If you use Canva, you are good at Canva. Obviously, it's gonna look nicer, but as I say, I'm not expecting anything final sign. Yeah, I just wanted to share because I got here one quite nice. Let me see if it's this one because I have quite
there's
many.
one in module 2, and I was trying to copy it more or less, but it was a disaster to be honest.
No problem.
Because
No,
once
but
I do like a little star here and a little dot here, and I click out of it, I cannot go back to the shape and move it around or make it bigger. It's like it's fixed. So I need to undo and redo it. I don't know. I thought, okay, I'm going to ask.
so look at this is from one of the final assignments. Okay.
Mhm.
So this is in Italy, and it's basically, as I said, screenshot from Google Earth or Google Maps, and
Yeah.
then he set up and he has a legend here. It looks a little bit more well explained with the legend, meeting point, blah blah blah, distance between buoys and entry and boats and first aid station, but nothing like nothing super. I'm not expecting, and this still looks quite okay. I mean,
Yeah.
this was the clinic from Sabine. Sabine is already on the website. You can have a look. So this is the 5 hours, how it looks, the presentation. So you have an idea here of how, sorry, the final assignment. So this is you have an idea here of how, I mean, she really did a good job. She used the pool, she used the open water with a training plan, blah, 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 what I'm going to develop, what I'm going to do, safety, the AEP was there, the safety plan was here included, risk assessment. She added some even some video, I think, here. So it was quite interesting. Obviously, not super developed exactly, but you see here that when they do the POW warm up, groups of swimmers doing loops, doing that, sighting, overtaking, blah blah blah. So a little bit of that, maybe missing a little bit of information on the skills itself, depending on if you want to develop and explain as a theory or if you're gonna go straight to the practice. I believe these were already kind of intermediate level that they know already how to swim properly, how to sight properly, how to do turns and all. But anyway, just to have an example, and as and per your question, Nika, I think that is okay. If you can manage to do it on canvas even nicer, perfect. Otherwise, I think this looks quite okay. So it's quite easy
Yeah.
to understand how is the setup and all. To be honest, most of our franchises organize whenever they have to provide a safety plan, because we request a safety plan from all of them, they do something similar. I've seen Nurul, yours also is something like that too. So we use the maps that we create that they are on the website, and basically over those maps we add the safety devices and the venue and where they're gonna be the ambulance, where is the emergency exit and all. So all included already inside there. I got it already the other day, last week. I got the Galapagos, which is happening this weekend with Cyprus. In the Galapagos, it was all in Spanish, but it was nice because they have like a super like a 20-30 pages of risk assessment and AEP and one all written, no maps, nothing, all written stuff, a lot of nonsense to be honest. But it was why it was a kind of requirement from the government to set up all these and submit to I don't know what office there in Ecuador to get the approval for the event. In Mexico, I think they do the same. In Mexico, they have like a kind of a necessary provision of some kind of. Let me share. Let me see if I can get it quickly here, and I show you because it's so it's not always the same story. Galapagos is here, so here it is. Okay, so this is how it looks, the safety share screen. Where is it? Here? So this was Galapagos. So is I don't know how many pages, but they include more or less all the timetable, location, and then earthquakes, flooding, landslides, all kind of possibilities, and then say if there's a threat, is a threat or not? Yes, no threat, about this, about that, fires, a lot of nonsense here. All written. What do we have in terms of first aid, extinguishers, smoke detectors? I don't know, a lot of things here. And then the APs in a kind of fluid way, manner. How if this happens, you go here. If that happens, you go there. So all these kind of things. Obviously, this is very well done. This is not done by the organizers itself. This is done by the government, kind of by the government, and they provide. You have to follow this. If you don't follow this, we don't give you the approval to organize the event, basically. So yeah. Anyway, don't have to be that much. It's maybe a little bit more simple. It should be, you know, but this is quite good example. Okay, I think we are running a little bit out of time. Anything else?
Sorry, last one. I'm sorry, last one. This is very quick. So, because what I'm going to do with this course, I want to plan different clinics, like every day, every session is going to be around the island. So from one point to another. It's not like a circular route. And the other day doing all this assessment, I realized that it's going to be more difficult, because then for my question now is, I need to first aid kits, like one in one location A and one in location B, and 2 people, and like everything is double, right? I've never done this before, and I don't know how you do when it's not circular.
Yeah, in case the call, just reconnect to the same link, and we just complete this in maybe 2-5 minutes. Okay. Same
Okay.
link,
Okay.
in case. I would keep it simple. Just do the cleaning in one location, and then later on, I mean, rather than going through different locations, even though if you want to develop later, yes, you should include how it's gonna be the risk assessment and the AP. If you're moving in a different area, you should set it up for different areas. Yeah.